Let me share my screen. This is from the previous session. Let's- Okay, so today what we are going to learn that is really very critical in terms of the usability. Okay, so try to focus, pay your attention in today's session. So lifetime you will never forget if you will pay attention today. But if you will be in 50-50 cases, you will not be getting things. Today we are going to start the functions with all the combinations which we use in real time. In the same way, we will be learning everything end to end about the function. Okay? So now, next thing is okay. Before starting the session, let me congratulate with three candidates. Madhusudan, many many congratulations, and Ramu, Harshita. These three. Thanks, guys, for putting your efforts and all. Okay, now let me create another folder here called as function in Python. And here we will have our files under this. Let's create a Python file. First function. Okay, so what we are going to learn? Let's go one by one. First, you should be aware, you should have answer in your mind, like what is a function? Sometimes in interview, it may ask also. Okay. Second, why we create functions. See guys, until unless you will not be having the answer why, how, who, and all. Once you have all answers, means your skill is enough, right? And then finally, how to create. Okay, so let's see. What is a function? And function is not like we are discussing, like obviously syntax and all, whatever we will be learning in the third step, that will be related to the Python only. But before this, first point, functions, what is a function, why we create. So this is the base. Base means everywhere. This is the generic thing. What is a function? It's not all about the Python. It may be Java, it may be C Sharp, it may be anything else, right? So functions always same, purpose is always same. Okay. So what is a function, guys? So function is a group of code or group of line or set of instructions, right? Which we create and we use those line of code or group of lines or set of instructions later on at multiple places. Let's say you will have to connect database. Okay, database connection you will have to create, right? So you will be writing 6 to 7 line of code, right? Let's say you need to use that 6 7, you need to create the database connection in multiple files, right? Let's say you have 30 files. In all 30 files, you will have to create a database connection. You will have to connect the database. What you will be doing? You will be writing 6 7 line codes at each page. So what is happening there? Duplicacy of the code everywhere. everywhere same line of code you are putting, right? Okay, so later on if something will get changed, let's say your server name will get changed, so what you will do, you will have to change everywhere at each place. See how much time consuming that is, right? Okay, so just to avoid that kind of situations, we write a function of those 6 7 line of codes. Then after having that, we create a function, and then we can use that function anywhere, multiple places. So the reusability of the code will be too high, and redundancy of the code, because you are writing the same code at multiple places, right? And later on if there will be any change, IP will get changed, database, password will get changed, anything will get changed, you will have to change at one place only. So that is what the database connection, sorry, this is what the function is. Okay, so what is a function? Function is a group or set of code, okay, whatever you will write, so that you can use as a function. So function can be defined as a group of code, right, which is used to perform a specific task. That task may be database connection, maybe any calculation, maybe any, right? Okay, let me write down that line. What is a function? Let me write here. Okay, so function can be defined as a group of code, right? Or set of instructions, whatever you want to write. Both, I mean, language is same, right? Okay, as a group of code, right? Which is used to perform any task or a specific task, whatever you want to say. Okay. Example is database connection. Okay. If someone will ask in interview, fine. Now, why we create connection? I already told. Like if you will have to use the same line of codes at multiple places, right? So you will not be writing the same line of instructions everywhere, each page where you will be using that, right? So you will be creating a connection, you will be creating a function, and you will be using that function everywhere, right? So if, and let's take the example of the database connection in this case also, right? Okay, in the same way, if we need to create a database connection, then we need to use some set of lines like these 6 7 lines, right? And then we may this. Yes, Balakrishna, tell me. Maybe. Okay, hey, do you have any query? Please down your hand. If, okay, thank you. Okay, okay. So point number one. So if we need to create a database connection, then we need to use some set of instructions which we have used here to create it, right? Like 6 7 line of codes, right? Then what we can instead of using everywhere, we can create a connection. We can create a function and then we can use that everywhere, right? This is the first line you can use why we need, right? Second, there may be other one, right? Like whenever you will be writing any function, right? What that function will help you, Reusability, right? Reusability of code. You have written that code at one place and you are reusing that code everywhere, wherever that is required. So that's the major flexibility or major advantage of any function. Reusability. Reusability of a function, right? That's the major advantage. Then, third, I already told, right? Redundancy of the code or duplicacy, right? You will not be writing the same code again and again at each and every page. So you are removing the duplicacy of the code, right? Right? Because you are not going to write at each and every page those line of instructions, right? You are just reusing your function everywhere which you have created. Okay, so function increase the reusability of your code in your code and remove the duplicacy of the code, right? So if you will be creating a function, then in that particular case we need not to write the code again and again. We can use the same code everywhere using the function. Okay, so this is what the major advantage of using the function or the answer of why we need to create a function. Hope you got the answer. Next, how to create a function. Okay, so to create a function in Python is really very easy, guys. Very easy. You need to understand only a couple of things. First, there will be a keyword used def. Okay, def will be used. What is def? So def kind of short form of define. Okay, and this is a unique identifier. This is a keyword. Def is nothing, just a keyword, right? This is a unique identifier to define a function, nothing else. Don't get confused. Okay, at many places you may see some different lines, but in 3 lines, like def is nothing, just a keyword, first line. Second, this is a short form of define, and the third thing is define. Def is a unique identifier for a function, right? So if you will have to create any function, you will have to use def keyword there. So that will indicate like that is a function. Okay, you cannot ignore this def function, def keyword, right? So def keyword, you will have to use it. Okay, so let's see how you will be creating up your first function. Now use always def. After that, give your function name. Let's say I'm going to create any testing function. If I'm saying that is a function, so function will always have these parentheses, right? And that will be having always these column after that. Function body will start now. In your body, you can write anything, any calculation, anything, whatever you want to do, you can write in your function. Okay, don't go as of now, the function type and all, everything will be coming gradually today only. Just to try to understand a basic concept of a function first. Okay, so let me print some lines first. Okay, print today I am going to learn Python functions or functions in Python. In Python. Okay, you can write n number of lines under the function rule. Okay, like print, this is my good learning. Okay, now that's it. Let me print this. Let me execute and let me print. Can you see something is getting printed or not?
Not.
No. Right? Why? Because we have written the function body only, but we didn't call the function. Right? So if you will be writing something inside the function body and you will have to print that. If you want to print that, guys, you need to call that function. That function will print that. So as of now, we just define the body of the function. We did not call this function. If you will have to call this function, you can call it using simple function name, nothing else. Okay, your function name is testing, and then just execute it. Can you see? Okay, so this is how, this is what it is, how you will be writing a code in function. So first you will have to define a function. So this will start from here with a def keyword and then your function name. Okay, then you will be giving the body of the function. Make sure you will be using the same indentation for all the lines. Don't forget it. All lines, if you will be using this line here, this will not be considered the part of the function, the body of the function. This will not be. The body of function will be considered if the indentation will be the same for all the lines. Okay, like this testing, this is not the part of this function. This is the separate line because the indentation is starting from beginning. Okay, so whatever with the indentation of the first line, all lines will be in the same with the same indentation. This is what you should keep remember always. Okay, so again let me repeat. So how to define a function? Use def keyword, write the function name, give the body, and call the function. That's it. Nothing else. This is the simple and easiest way to define a function here in Python. Okay, this is how you guys can do it. Right now, let's say you will be doing some activity. Okay, you want to do something, or sometimes in interview it is asked, let's say you have defined a function, that's okay, can I call that function before that body? Can I call? So the answer is no. In the same page, wherever you have defined your code, wherever you define, so first you will have to define that, later on you can call that. Otherwise, your code will not get executed. That will fail. Okay. So if you are going to define any function at any page, can you call that function at the same page? Yes, we can call. Can we call that function before the body? No, we cannot call before the body. We can call that function after the body. Right? So you should remember this line. Okay. So calling the function at the same pace, can we call? Yes, we can call. Can we call after defining the function? Yes, we can call after defining the function. Can we call that function before defining that function? No, we cannot. Okay, otherwise that will get failed. So this is the basic thing about the functions. Now let's try to understand something more about the functions. Okay, so let me create another file, Python file, more about functions or Python functions. Now, let's try to understand the more basic things about the functions. Like, I will tell you. Let's try to understand the rules. Rules to create functions. Okay, two rules I already told you just now. Okay, about the function body. Okay, what was that? Let's see. Let me write again in the same line. Okay. Rule number one: function body should start with the colon, right? Function body always start with colon. Here is a colon. Function body start from here, right? And and with the same indentation. Okay. So whatever you will be writing in a body, the indentation will be same. So that's the rule. Don't forget it. And one more thing I forget to tell you guys here in the function. Let me tell you again here. The first line in the functions is always optional. In Python, first line is always optional. What does it mean? Whatever you will be writing as a first line, okay, whatever you will be writing in a first line, let me write here. Let's say this is my first line of code as an optional. Okay, let me execute. What should happen as per you? This should fail or what? Okay, let me execute. Don't worry. See, it is printing something here. That should get fail, even though no. In function, the first line is optional, and see, this is not getting printed means this is a command. Okay, so first line in the Python is optional and can be used as in command. Okay, we did not use here the hash. Hash is used for commenting, right? But this is used here as a command. So this is optional. First line in functions always optional. You can use as a command. Okay, so let me move here now.
If we can use their print, then it will take an optional, right?
Yeah, it will take an option. It will
If
never get
anything, it will write.
it. Yeah, it will not get print because that will work as a command.
Okay.
Okay, now.
But Yogesh, print is the function. Even we add the print in the first line, it should work as a function, right? It should print the comment, whatever we write the code.
So see, if you will be writing something, then obviously that will work, right? But if without any keyword, without anything, you will be writing something else, this is not a keyword. It's nothing, right?
Correct.
Correct. This is something string you have written. So that will work. This string will work as an optional, right? As a
Can you
command.
can you remove the double quote in first line? It should print any error because we are not defining a string.
Obviously that will be right because that's the syntax error. Simple, right? You cannot write any string without single quotes, double quotes, right? You should use. That's the
We can
basic.
write in print function, then it will print.
Yeah, print function
Print.
will always print everything,
Okay.
right? Okay. Okay.
So is it like comment we have to write in only in first line, or we can write comment in any line, right?
You can write comment in any line, only you need to take care the has, right? But for the first line, that's optional. Okay.
Okay.
You can write comment here as well, like with the has, like, okay, I am done, right? Comment you can write everywhere, right? Here, this will not be treated as an optional, this line. If you will remove has, right? So this will not be treated. But this is what the first line all about it. You should remember. Okay. Okay. So
So
let's move here.
basically, we can add this for our readability.
Sorry, what is that, Tinka?
We can add this line as for our readability. So what?
You can say, I mean, that's okay. I mean, command is also used for the same, and the first line is working in the same way. So you can say that. Okay.
I mean, the purpose of the function, right? We can write here.
Sorry, what is that?
The
Abba?
purpose of the function we can write here.
You can write. I mean, whatever you have thought, like the purpose is always before the functions, whatever the
Okay.
purpose is. But whatever you are going to do, right? So we usually write something about the lines. Like first line may do something, second line may do something different, third line may do something different, right?
Oh,
We
okay.
usually use those as a comment. So you can use those if you want.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So you guys, indentation should also not consider here, right? For first line.
Indentation will always considered all the lines, whatever will be indentation under the function body. Indentation will be always same. That's the first rule here.
Even for the optional line also,
Yeah,
right?
correct. That's the part of the function, right? This is the part of the function. You have given under the body, right?
Yes.
So all should be with the same indentation, right?
If there is a gap between the two print functions, a blank line, will it execute?
Yes, that will. That's okay. If you will be using, you can use. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, point number 2. I told you already about the def. Def is what? Def is a keyword to create a function. And this is a unique identifier for functions, right? Is a keyword to create a function. And it's unique identifier for functions. That's it. Okay, so don't get confused like why we are using def keyword over there. Okay, this is the unique identifier for the functions. And let me write down that line as well. Okay, like first line of function is optional, can be used for commenting. Okay, you have already seen these all. And the fourth one. Okay, now we'll see. The function always return the value. Are you guys aware? Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll see the return keyword. Okay, and return keyword that you should remember actually. Okay, return keyword is okay. Okay, but you should be aware about the return. Return keyword will be always and line of that function, the last line. Okay, return keyword will be the last line of the code of that function. So return keyword shows end of the function basically. Like your function will be ending there if you will be looking any return keyword, right? So this is what I mean the base rule. These are the base rule to create any function. I have included everything which is the possibility, right? So that you will not be, ignoring anything. So let's start with it, like how we can use these all. The comment line, def, you have already seen. This you have already seen. And the first line as an optional, you have already seen. The return key. Okay, let's see the return keyword. So return keyword you may have seen already, right? But let's start with here. Now let me create a function def, not default, def. Okay, def. Let's create any function. Let's say my function, and okay, and here the board. 1 second. Let me use the colon. Now here, you can use print, and here like I am going to use return keyword in this function. Okay, now this function will print this line, right? This will execute this. Now if I would try to return it, let me try to return this. How I can ask my code or my function to return anything using simple return keyword. That's it. If you will be using this return keyword here, then it will return whatever your function will be having something written, that will get returned. Okay, so let me call your function. So your function name is my function. Let me okay, so this is return. Now what I told here in the last line, what it means, what mean of last line? Anyone?
End of the function, we can
End of the
declare
function.
the return keyword.
Okay, so means whatever you will write after that and return keyword, that will not be the part of the function, right? Correct?
Yes.
Now what I will do, I will try to write with the same indentation something else also, like let's print something. I may be wrong. Okay, so let me print. So let's see this line is getting printed or not. Ideally what should happen? See, so function is getting ended where?
Return.
Return.
So whatever you will write after return, that will not be the part of your function. Your function will get end at return itself. So the return will be the last word of your function, or it will tell you like I'm going to end here itself. Whatever you will be writing later on, that will not be considered the part of the function, and this will not get executed also because if this is not a part of this function itself, and this is not the indentation, this is with the same indentation of the function body, so this will not be considered as a part of outside of the function, right? So this is what the return keyword is. Okay, so the return keyword will return the value of the function, whatever value that will have, and that will be the last keyword of the function. Okay, fine. I mean, these are the very easy and small things, but collectively later on those will construct the big things. Okay, I mean, I think everyone is good, right? No one has any doubt, and no one should be, right? I mean, this is what it is, and these all are the base rules you should be aware. So these base
Okay,
rules.
if the print function, second print function, does not have indentation, it's a normal print function, then what will happen?
Sorry, what is that?
The second print function, I may be wrong.
Acha,
If it doesn't
this
have
one.
yeah, like
Okay.
this.
Then it's a
Okay.
print.
Yes. Here you go. Okay.
Yeah, it's a normal print statement, so it is it.
Yep.
So first it is printing the I may be wrong, and then whatever
Yeah.
is there in my function, it is printing.
Correct. See, this will print wherever you will have the sequence. The sequence is first you are calling, you are trying to write this, and then you are trying to call the function, and function,
Yes.
whatever the will be there, that will be printed. The sequence will be same always.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now let's try to understand all the combinations of the function. This is something the base rules about the functions. Now base rules are clear to everyone. Okay. Now I think we are going to work with the functions. So now let's try to understand about all about the functions. Okay. All about functions. Now, so there are different type of functions, guys. This is something interesting. I need your attention here. Okay. Okay. So what I should write? Okay. Type of function. Oh no. Okay. Different type of functions. Different type of functions. Now, number one, what we are going to write? What we are going to learn? Number one. Okay. The first one will be. I mean, at least you may be aware two things till now. Functions are two type. Functions may take argument or may not take argument, right? Correct? These basic things you may be aware. Like functions may take argument or functions may not take argument. I mean these two types. So here we are going to learn something with a different type of combinations like functions not taking argument, not taking argument, and not returning values. This will be my first combination. Okay, like you have seen, like function will always return the value. Okay, function will return the value always, right? You can ask any function, please return, use the return keyword, right? So we will be looking the first combination wherever you will not be giving any argument and will not be asking function to return any value. Next, number two. Second possibility, what can be? Second possibility will be function will take some argument but not return the value, right? So four permutation combination can be there, right? So we will be looking all the permutation combinations. Function is taking input or some arguments but not returning. Okay. Clear? So in a first combination, we will not be taking argument and we will not be returning any value. In the second combination, we will take argument, but we will not be returning values. Third combination, what can be the third possibility? Function is taking argument. Let me copy. Okay, and returning the value. Okay, let's start with returning values. Okay, next, the fourth possibility. Functions not argument, without argument, but returning the value. Right? Function without argument or not taking argument. Okay, and returning. Okay, so these four combinations can be there. These four combinations, only these four combinations will be there regarding the function. Okay, we will be looking all these with examples. Okay, and I will ask you, try to practice with multiple examples. Can be you can create, think and start to write. Okay, programming is something, think and start to write, nothing else. Okay, so let's start with the first one, where function is not taking any argument. Okay, चलो यहीं पे करते हैं. Starting with first combination. Now, okay, what is the first combination? Function not taking argument and but returning the values. But sorry, function not taking argument and not returning the values, right? So means we will not be giving any argument and we will not be asking function to return anything. Then that's the very simple one. We already done this with a couple of examples, right? Let's try once more. Def is a keyword. Then after that, function name, my function, right? After that, give anything, whatever you want to write. Let's print something. Print. This is my first combination of function. Okay. So here, argument always provided within these two braces of the function. We did not provide here, right? So here you go. Now after that, you can call this function. How we can call this function? Simply we can write the function name. Okay. Can we write at multiple places? Yes, you can write. As many as times. How many times you are using this function, calling this function?
3 times.
3 times. And can you see here something here after the function name where we declare?
Yeah, 3 usage.
Let me add one more time. My function. What is there?
4 usages.
4 uses. So as many as times you will use, it will automatically detect like you are going to call this function 4 times, 5 times, or 10 times. Okay. Okay, let's get execute. What will happen? That's it. Okay, so this is the same function, the easiest way, a function without any argument and without returning any value. So this is what the basic function of in the Python, right? Without any argument and without returning any value. Okay, now let's take one more example on this in the same way. Let me write something. Let's have sum. Okay, let's do sum of the functions, right? And let's not print this, so we'll not have any issue there. Okay, let's create a new function. F sum. So we are going to sum a couple of values. One is missing. Let's add the colon. Now we are going to sum of couple of values. Like first, let's say a variable, let's have a 10, b variable, let's have 20, and in C, let's have the sum of a plus b. Okay, and let's print the value of C. Okay, so how to print? So here you can print, and let me write it down like sum of two numbers, right? Sum of two numbers. Okay, and here let's print the value, use the concatenation plus, and what is the value? What will be the value? C, right? This will get print. Now, if I want to, but this sum will be printed by the function. How we can call this function? How we can print this line? We can print this by calling the sum function, right?
Function name.
Sorry?
Function name, yes.
Yeah. So just use the function name and call it. It will give you an error. Do you know why? Do you know why? Code is in front of you.
Argumented.
Sorry.
Not giving argumented, not giving values.
Return is not available.
Arguments are, we are using the here values, a plus, a value 10, b value 20.
Concatenation will not work there.
Why?
One is string and one is integer.
And
Oh,
digits.
yes, yes. So this is your string and this is your number, integer.
Yes.
So you will have to change it. Let me execute first. Okay. So you will have an idea. I mean, we did already multiple times previously, right? The same typecast error is coming. So you will have to change this data type as str.
String, yes. Close bracket.
Right? That's it. You all must have answered, right? We did it multiple times previously. Okay, so this is what the 30 is coming here. Now let me execute multiple times. Let's say in my team 20 members are there. Okay, I created this function. I will be using, and my all team members will be using. Okay, so every time 30 is coming, every time the value, but I want to pass something different value, not 10 or 20. I want to pass 5 or 50 or something else. Someone else wants to pass something different values. So in that particular case, this won't work. In that particular case, we should take an input from a user. Okay, we should pass the value as an argument, and then later on we can use for the calculation purpose. Okay, we should use for the calculation purpose. In that way, you would be able to. Sorry. Sorry, Madhu. What was that?
No, sorry.
Okay. Okay. So this is how you guys will be. So if you will be using here hard-coded value, so the purpose of the function will discard will not work, right? So the purpose of function kind of the reusability. Anyone can use anywhere with their own specific values. This function to get the sum of couple of values we can get, but always sum will be the same. But my team members want some different, if some, right, with the different values. So in that particular case, what we can do, we can pass the argument here, and with the help of that argument, we can get the final outcome. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's create another function. Okay, and with the help of that function, we will be giving the arguments, and then we will be getting the final outcome. Okay, so let me create any function def.
Sir,
Okay.
I have one question.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, on the above print statement, rather than giving print statement, can we, that thing one. No, below the function.
Huh?
Yeah, on that part, rather than giving print statement, can we declare like return C? Is it will work?
Return C, that will be coming. Don't worry.
Okay.
That will be coming in the next functions, na?
Okay.
In the next combinations, that will be coming. Don't worry. Okay. Now let's create a function with some arguments. Okay. So some function we already created the previous here. So let's create a different one. Sum of values. Okay. So this will be my function. And here I will be using two arguments, kind of a comma b, right? I want these two values from user. Okay. Now here you can give the body. What will be the body? Like I want the sum like C equal to A plus B. Right? This is what we were looking for. Initially we were using the hard-coded values, but now we will be taking these two values as an argument. Now after this you can print it again. Let me use the same line, otherwise we need to write it again. Sum of two values, and here this is C, right? Now if I will be executing it, will it print something? If I will be executing, will it print something? No, because we didn't call this function yet, right? Correct? First,
Yes.
we need to call the function, right? So sum of values. Now you can put the value here. Let's say I want the sum of 15, 25. Okay, these two values of sum I want. Let me execute this line. So if I am executing this, it is returning me 40. So 15 plus 25 is equal to 40. Let's execute one more time. I want to pass, let's say my another team member is going to use the same function which I created. Okay, but he wants the sum with different values like 8, 91, right? He will be passing these two values and he wants the sum. Can he use? Yes, he can use 99. So now you created this function. Anyone can use this function. Whosoever will have the access of that project, of that function, right? So this will work with all the values now. Everything is flexible. Okay, let's say 40, 120. We are going to pass this value, let's say, and this is something 160. So this is what, right? This is how we usually create a function with some arguments. Argument, it's not necessary you will have one argument only or two argument. You have three argument, four argument, one argument, whatever number of parameters you want to pass, you can pass. whatever calculation you want to perform, it's not like that you can just do the sum only. You can do the multiplication, you can do any calculation here. You can perform anything, any formula you can write. That should be arithmetically, that should be correct. So whatever formula you will be writing, based on that, your function will be giving you an outcome accordingly. Okay, so this is how your function will work in that way, wherever you will be giving the arguments, multiple arguments, right? Let's go one more step. Let me comment this. Okay. The next example. This is something very interesting. Okay. Let's say you have kind of 10 comma 10 multiply 20 plus 100. Okay, let me put in the braces for your readability purpose. Okay. So guys, I have to perform a calculation where I will be doing multiplication of couple of values, and then I will be adding some values later on in that. My requirement may be like my team member may want only the multiplication of two numbers. He don't want to add any value. So third argument they will not be using. Or my second team member wants the multiplication, then he wants to add something in that. Right? So he has something different requirement. Okay, so I have multiple team members and they all have different way of using the functions. Okay, some wants only the multiplication of two numbers, and some wants multiplication and then addition of number. So what is happening here? Two numbers are getting multiplied. Whatever multiplication result is coming, that result is getting added with the third argument. Okay, so what we can do, if we will try to think a little bit, like some team members wants the multiplication only. So let's create a function with two arguments. That function will return the multiplication of two numbers. And those two members wants the multiplication only, we will return that value itself directly. And whatever value will return later on, that value we can add with the third argument. So whosoever wants the multiplication, then later on sum. Okay, so here we will be looking the return value, the third combination of it. Okay, so the first two combination we are done. This is the third combination, taking the argument and returning the values. Okay, so here we will be returning the values by this function, and in the third function we may use that for the calculation purpose. Okay, so let's see how we can do. Let me comment it. Now let's create a function. Okay, so first what I want, the multiplication. Okay, so let's create a function of multiplication. So here let me write create a multiplication function. Okay, now let's create it. Define function. Now let's create it. Def, and then give the function name. Let's say multiply. You can give any name, right? That's okay. Okay. In multiply, let's say I will be using two numbers, a comma b, and with colon. The body will start. Let's have a plus b, c equal to a plus b, and here let's print the c, or let's return the c. Okay, because we need the return. We need to return this value. So return c, right? So Madhu, this is what you were asking, right? This is how value will get returned.
Correct. Yeah, rather than print statement, we can use return. Yeah.
So return, and then use that variable, whatever you want to return, right? Okay. Now, so what this function will do, this function will just add. Okay, but not add, we need multiplication. So let's do the multiplication instead of this. Okay, so this function will return the multiplication of two values. Okay, now after getting the multiplication, we need the addition of two values as well. Okay, we need to get the addition of two values. So we need to create the one more function. Okay, so here let's create it. Def, then addition. Okay, in addition, you need addition of two values, right? The multiplication of two numbers will be finally one number, right? And then this is the another number. Here you will be passing two arguments, kind of, let's say a comma b. Okay, now let's let's put the values here. You will have to print sum, right? So let's have a sum, c equal to a plus b. So now you will be having the sum here. Now you can print the sum, right? Print c. So your c will get print here. Whatever value will be over there in c, that will get print here. Now let's see what this function, how this function is working. Okay, let's see that. So can we call this function?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Multiply, and then we need to pass how many arguments? Two arguments, right? So let's pass this. Let's say 10, 20. Fine. After that, you will have to print this value as well. Okay. So how we can print? We can take this value in any variable, let's say x, and now print this value. Print, this is multiplication of two values. Okay, and here again concat with and we need to convert into a string and x. Okay, so let me execute this program and let's see what it is printing. 200. Is this 200 correct or not? Let me use the space. Is this correct value or incorrect value?
Correct.
This is correct value, right? We are going to multiply of two numbers, 10 and 20. So 20 times 200. right? That's the correct value. Now, you go to the multiplication. So if any team member wants the multiplication of two numbers only, they can use this function and get the multiplication of two numbers. Now, the next thing is you can multiply whatever outcome is you are getting of multiplication. You can take that as an invariable in this variable, and whatever outcome is coming, what you can do, you can just use that, and finally you can sum that. Okay, you can add with the third variable. Okay, how you can do that? Come here and see. So let me comment this line. Okay, now you will have to call that function. How you will be, which function will be giving you the addition at last? Addition of two numbers. This will be finally one number, and this is another number. So do we have any function which will give the addition of two numbers? Yes, we have the addition function. Okay, so let's call the addition function. Addition function will accept two parameters. First parameter is what? The multiplication of two numbers, right? Multiplication of two numbers. Okay, so here you can use multiplication of two numbers. Are we storing somewhere multiplication of two numbers?
X.
Yes, in X.
In X. X will have the outcome of multiplication of two numbers. Let's have X here. Now, you want to add something. Let's say you want to add 100. That's it. That's it. Now, let's execute this. Here is 300. Right? 200 plus 100 equal to 300. And you can write here instead of C a proper message. Okay, let me use. This is the final outcome of multiplication and addition. Okay. And here you can use the concatenation, use TR, C. That's it. That's it. Okay. So now finally, try to understand it end to end. Otherwise, you will get confused. Maybe. But function is easy, logic is easy, but let me explain it once more. Okay. 1 second. Yes, Hina, tell me.
So in this particular function, we have stored the result of multiplying a variable x. And then we have printed the.
Let me explain. Hina, let me explain once more. Okay,
sure.
If you will have any doubt later on, then you may ask. Okay? Yeah. Now, let me explain once more. Let me close this window. Let me expand it once. Now window is good. Okay. So what was my requirement? My requirement was like it may happen sometime at any project, right? Module wise, like I want the multiplication of two numbers, and then I want to add something. This is my requirement. But my team member requirement is something, they want the multiplication only of some of the numbers. Okay, so there are two different kind of requirements. So if some team members wants only the multiplication of some numbers, okay, then what I can do? I can write a code for multiplication of numbers. Because anyhow, in both the requirements, one thing is common. One thing is common in both the requirement. Like my team members, some of team members wants the multiplication only. So this is the requirement number one, and there is only one point. In requirement number two, I want the multiplication of two numbers. Second requirement, point number one. And then I want the sum of multiplication with a third argument. Requirement number two. In both the requirements, multiplication is common, right? If something common is happening multiple times, then for handling that common things, common line of codes, we can write a separate function. Okay, so whosoever wants the multiplication, if the first requirement wants the multiplication or second requirement wants the multiplication, we will be using that function. So those number of lines of code we need not to write multiple places. We will be writing at one time. So if my team member wants the multiplication, they will be using the same function. If I want the multiplication plus addition, then multiplication is happening there. Then I will be using that function as an over there. Okay. So first we create the common thing, whatever is common logic there in that requirement. So common logic in both requirement is multiplication. So let's create the multiplication function. So we created a one multiplication function which is taking two argument, okay, and we are multiplying them. Then we will be returning that value. Why we are returning? Because we need that as an outcome at multiple places. Okay, and we need that as an input. That multiplication we need as an input as well. That's why we need to return it. Okay, so whatever multiplication will be there of A and B, then we will be returning that. Okay, and how to return the value? Simple return and then write that variable name, whatever you want to return. So now C will get written from here, whatever will be the outcome. Now, so if any of you wants the multiplication of two number only, then what you can do? You can just call this function simply. How to call a function? Simple. Write down the write your function name and pass the argument. If arguments are there, yes, it will accept the two arguments. So we will be passing two arguments. If I want to print this value, like what is the multiplication of 10 and 20, then what I can do? I can execute this and I will be getting the multiplication of two values. Now, later on, I got it. The first requirement is fulfilled. Those team members wants the multiplication of two numbers, they can use the multiplication function directly. This function, they can call that by passing the input. They will be using this only. They will not be looking at the code. What is happening in the code? You have created it, your team members are using it. Now, some of the team members wants to do the addition, whatever the outcome is coming by this, like 200. So they have a requirement, whatever is the multiplication, I want to add some number over there as a bonus. Okay, so what you can do? You can create a second function. Okay, In the second function, you can use two arguments and do the addition and simply print that. Okay, now you can call that function as well. Okay, now here the first argument will be always the input of the multiplication function, because this was my requirement. Here I want the multiplication of two numbers, right? So the first argument we are using here, whatever is the outcome of multiplication function. So multiply function, whatever will be the outcome, we are storing in x variable. We are using the first variable as an x. That will be the outcome of multiply of two numbers. The second variable will be the second value. You can pass any value here. Let's say 1001, right? You can write here, you can pass that. Now once you will execute, x value will be 200. The multiplication function will return the 200, and here this will be 1001. So this will be 1201 finally the outcome, right? So this is how you guys can use the functions as an input as well. Okay, and this is what you will be using later on. Okay, so is there anyone who has any doubt on this?
It's the difference between line number 32 and line number 38. In line number 32, return C. So we are returning the multiply y. And again, x equal to multiply a comma b. Again, we are passing two variables to multiply. So that is getting confused.
Okay, who is this?
This is Mangesh.
Okay, see what we are doing here in this function. Okay, forget about line C, line 32. Okay, in this function we are using two parameters as an input and we are multiplying that, right?
Yes.
Whatever will be the multiplication, we will be returning by that function, by that return keyword. We are not printing it as of now. Okay, we are just returning that outcome. Okay, that outcome we can use later on further somewhere else, right? So here in 38, what we are doing in 38, we are just simply calling this function, because you will have to print this function as well, right? Whatever is the outcome of C, okay, you will have to print that, right? So how to print? How to print? Using by calling the function.
Yes.
So we are calling this function here, okay? And if I want to call this multiply function, so multiply function accept how many parameters? Two parameters, right? So we are passing two parameters here. Now it will automatically take the input here, A as 20, B, A as 10, B as 20, A and B will go here, 10 multiply 20. So C will store how much? 200. Okay, and that will be in the C.
C.
Okay, so once you will pass this, you will call this multiply function and you will pass these two parameters. So then these values will go there, will calculate the values, and finally you can print here. So that will store the final value in the X, and we are printing the X here. So these are two separate things. Like here you are just storing the multiplication of two numbers in C, and that outcome you want to return that. And here this line is nothing, just we are calling this function by passing that argument, and in the next line we are just printing that. So this is calling that function and this is returning the value. This is the difference between 38 and 32.
Okay.
Okay.
One question. So can't we use that in 41 line addition C comma B 100, because we already have the value 200 in C. Instead of storing the multiplication value in X, can't we use the C?
C like this?
Yeah.
How did you pass? Did this C get to know what value you are passing there? Because once you are using this value, right? So you are passing 10 or 20 there, but this C is something a new value here.
Because we haven't defined that. It's a
Yeah.
user defined. Yeah, okay.
This is something new here. Okay. So if you will be using X, means X you are using here, right? And this multiplication will be saved in this variable, and this will be used here.
So basically the user defined values are storing in X, and then we are using that later.
Correct. Okay.
So it goes, instead of calling the addition function directly, we can pass the hard-coded addition value in this multiply and we can print it, right? Also.
Sorry, what is it?
See, we are calling the addition function, right? For adding the value. We have a multiply that is giving the two input as a parameter. So we are storing the X. Now we can print the X plus 100 or 200, whatever they want. So it will also return the same result.
You want X plus?
See, X we have a variable. We are storing for the multiply function.
Correct.
Now we want to print X plus 100 or 200, whatever you want, because both are the integers. So no need to convert
that's okay. That's okay. But how anyone will use, right? The function, right? We are going to create a function, so anyone else can also use. But here you will be doing the hard-coded value, right? That will be something.
But here it's working because all the functions are executing in the same class. When we do the same in the multiple class, for example, inheritance concept, then again we have to call both the function together, else it will not work, right?
No, see, if you will be using everything derived by the requirement. Here is a requirement like I will be using the multiplication first, and some of the team members want the multiplication only, right? Then the second requirement is some of the team members wants whatever will be the multiplication, I want to add something in that multiplication, right? This is what the requirement is.
Correct.
So this is what we are, and that multiplication and addition can be done by any team member, and this is not any restriction like they will be using any specific value only. They can put their own value over there, own value, right? If you may be passing 10, 20, 30, someone else may be passing 100, 200 and 300, any value they can pass, right? If you will be using here like X, whatever will be the X value, X plus 100, right? Okay, here X, okay, X plus 100. So this is the addition you will get. That's okay, addition will work, but no one else can use it. This is not a function. This is just simple calculation you are doing in your code. This is not a function, right? But if I will be using addition function, I can put here later on 100, 200, 300, 500. But this X plus 100 will always return the hard-coded value itself. Let me print it. Print. Okay. And here you can print it. Okay. Let's have here. This is my hard-coded value. Okay. So let me comment this. Let me print this. Okay, we need to change it. Whatever. Yeah. and here is st. So you will be getting this 300. Now, every time, whenever you will be passing the value here in multiplication, let's say you are going to pass here 20, 25. So you are going to pass two parameters. You are going to change, but it will add only 100 itself. Only 100, right? So that's not flexible, right? But here, using the function, that's the flexibility. Any value in addition, you can add 100, 200, 300. You will be asking to the end user to pass the value. Whatever they want to pass, they can pass. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what the purpose of the functions. To get the input, to get the argument value from the end user, whatever they will be passing, you will be getting the outcome accordingly. Okay? Fine.
Hello. Line number 34 to 36. Here we providing two argument A and B. Then here we giving an 100, right? B value for addition. Then how it will take C equal to A plus B, right? Then here adding X plus C. Then what will take A value?
Okay. 1 second. You are getting, let's see. 1 second. Let me comment. See. Let me open this now and pass here 20. Let's say 40. Okay. And here, let's say 10 and 20. Okay. So in case of addition, what addition function is doing? Addition function will be taking two input, okay, and it is just adding that. It is just adding that and finally printing that. Whatever will be the addition, that will get saved in the C variable, and then finally C will get printed, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now, so what you understood? Addition function will take two input. So here what we are doing in addition?
Okay, but it will take A like a X.
Yes.
Okay.
A or B, nothing. These are two variables, right?
Variables.
So whatever value you will pass at a first place, that will become a value of A variable.
Okay.
Whatever value you will pass at a second place, that will become a value of B variable.
B.
Okay. So here you are passing X and
B.
40, right? X and 40. So X will get assigned to A, and what is the value of X? That will be 200. That will come from here, right?
Yeah.
So 200 will come here, 200 will assign to A, that will come here, 200. Okay. B, the value of B is 40, 40 will go there, and 40 will be coming here. So 100, 200 plus 40. So finally, the 240 will get a print. This is how the program will work.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Ruchi, tell me. Yes.
Sir, if we use addition in addition function when we are calling addition, there if instead of X we use C here,
Okay. If
should
you
be
will
able
be
to run this function or not then?
if you will be using C, it will not identify the C. Did you declare C somewhere outside of these functions? Because this C, the scope of this C is inside of this function. The scope of this C is inside of this function. So nothing outside. Outside there is only X, right? So this will not identify any C. Okay, because nothing you declared C. Whatever, see, okay, try to understand this thing again. I'm telling you guys, don't get confused. This is one of the function, right? multiply,
Line.
and in this function's body, how many line we have written? Two lines. So these two lines are the body of this function. So the scope of these variables will be in this function only.
Okay.
Similarly, these A and B, these are not the same A and B, right? This is something you are going to define here. These are different A and B, and the scope of these A, B, C will be till this function only, nowhere else. Okay? If you will define something outside of this function, okay, that will be okay. Like here, this. Do you think this x is a part of any of the function? No. This is something outside. See the indentation, right? Indentation is starting from the first line itself, right? First place, correct? This is a different value. You can take that as an input here, not C, correct? Hope this is clear now, Ruchi. Or yeah, but what else? You are raising frequently.
Sir, in that line number 36 is the right print we have given, right?
36, okay.
Yeah, string we have given C. Which C it will pick above multiply one or the addition?
No. See, again, I'm telling this C, the score. Okay, try to understand one thing, everyone. Okay, in multiplication, how many variables we are using?
2.
Even 3, right? A, B, and C. 3 are using. So the scope of these A, B, C will be till here, till this function only. And these A, B, C are different. These are different, not these A, B, C. Okay, let me use here. Let me OP. Okay, and here you can use O plus P, and here you will be saving in R, and let's print R. Not, it's not B, it's P. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Now I think this will clear too. Okay, so let's get a. So here is okay, fine. So the main thing is, whenever you will be using any variables here, these are the local variables. So these will be used, you can use within the function only. Global variables will be there, those will be coming later on. Okay, but these are the local variables you are defining within the function. Okay, so the scope of these local variables will be within the function only. If you are defining any variable within the multiplication, within the multiply function, so the scope of those variables will be within the multiply. If you are going to define some variables within the addition function, so the scope of those variables will be within the addition function only. Okay, so these are the local variables, and the scope of these local variables will be within the function only, right? Clear? Is that okay, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, things are easy, right? Only what you will have to do, try to practice around this. So once you will practice couple of times, you will get things at tips. That is for sure. Okay. So let's move to next. Okay. Okay. Next. There was the fourth one. Function without argument and returning values. Hey Baswa, again, do you have any query? If not, then lower. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Now, so function without argument but returning values. Can we have something like that also? Yes, we can have. Okay. We can use a function. So using that function, we can have something without argument and then we can return the values. So let's see that example if we can. So let me comment this. So this will not call. Okay, fine. Now, okay. Let's start to create a function. Now, we are going to define function without argument and returning value. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. Now let's create a function. Okay. How to create a function? Function always start with
Def keyword.
def keyword. Okay. And then you need to give the function name. Okay. Let's say you want to return the data. Let's give the return data queue function name. Okay. You don't want to pass the argument, right? Without argument. So I'm not going to give any argument here. And now let's say there will be a variable will be kind of 100. Okay. And there will be b variable kind of 200. And there will be, let's say, c equal to a plus b. And then finally return c. Finally return c, right? So this is how you can return any value from any function, right? So if I will execute this, will it print something? Will it print?
No. We should call the function.
We have not called print
All
function.
the function.
Correct. So we need to call the function. So let me call the function. Okay. Now, can I print this now? So can I execute? Will it print something? But it will print.
It won't print anything actually.
Yeah, we didn't write anywhere the print command, right? So we need to print it, right? So what we can do? So the outcome of this function will store in C, and C we are asking to return. So whenever this function will call, so the value of C will get returned. So that is coming here in this. So can we store somewhere in any variable kind of X, right? So the value finally will get saved in X variable. Can we print X?
Yeah.
This is the outcome of my function, which is not taking any argument. Okay, now let's have X there. You need to typecast str and X, right? That's it. Now let's execute. Can you see? Did you get the outcome? Hannah? So you can, I mean, this is, everything is easy in Python. Simple plain English. If you will try to practice, try to think logically, Everything is simple, plain English in Python, right? Now, you are not taking any input and you are asking your function to return the value, and finally you are returning that, right? So these are 4 permutation and combinations only. I try to cover all the permutation and combinations so that if anything will come or in interviewer will ask, so that you guys can answer accordingly, right? Okay, so all things are easy, only you need to do some practice around these. Now, so that's all about the functions, how you can define the function here in the Python. So these all are the ways, all the rules, all basic concepts, everything I told you, okay, with all the permutation combinations and all basic concepts, okay. So you should be good now, right? Next thing, we have seen some arguments, right? Arguments here, like we are putting some argument, right? We need some argument in a function, correct? Now, everything is derived by these arguments only. This is something looks like very easy, but very critical to handle. Okay. Now, let me explain about these also. Okay. But let me give you some high level idea first. Then tomorrow I'll explain you in detail. Otherwise, everything will get complicated for you. You learn all the functions and all. Okay. So let's take this as an easy way today. Okay. So let me write here type of arguments. Type of arguments. So how many type of arguments can be there? So there may be 3 type of arguments, guys. Okay. So don't get confused at any point of time. So first type of argument, required argument. The argument, whatever will be required, whatever we have seen in the just previous example, okay, that will be required argument. Second, this is what you will be using in future. Next, keyword argument. If some of you work at the keyword driven framework, you may be very much familiar around it. Okay. If you didn't get chance, then you will get in detail. Don't worry. Okay. Keyword arguments. Okay. So whatever keyword you will be defining, okay, the value will be taken accordingly. The value may be saved in a table, may be saved in any notepad, may be saved in any Excel, CSV, wherever. Okay. Based on the keyword argument, you will be taking the input and putting in your functions. That's the real-time use actually. Okay. That may be coming through your list. I mean, there may be any number of scenarios, right? You will be getting all, don't worry. Okay. Then third one, the last one, will be the default one. Whatever default arguments you will. Okay. So these 3 type of arguments we are going to learn, guys. Okay. So we will start tomorrow. These arguments, these are really critical but easy. Again, I'm telling you, Python is easy. So take things easy. But this, I mean, only what I need, what is my expectation try to do practice. Whatever you are learning in a day or in 2 days, so try to practice around these. If I'm trying to explain you everything with at least a couple of examples. Try to practice by 3 or 4 examples by your side. I mean, so you will be feeling very comfortable around it. Okay, because things are easy and you can easily manage. This is what I can tell you, right? Okay, so let's meet tomorrow and let's start with it, and then we will be moving forward. Okay, then after that, after completion of this, we will be learning tomorrow class in Python. Okay, so let's meet tomorrow. See you there. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Thank you so